caribou tracks are scattered across the Yukon Territory. This region, located in the far northwest of Canada, spans more than 482,000 square kilometers, making it about 1.3 times larger than the state of California. With an ultra-low population density, fewer than 0.1 people per square kilometer, Yukon stands as one of the last truly wild and untouched areas left on the North American continent. The name Yukon comes from the Gwich'in language, meaning white water, a reference to the Yukon River. Years ago, magma from deep within the earth rose to the surface in the Heart River area, forming layers of volcanic and intrusive rock, the very foundation of what would become this territory. Over millions of years, tectonic plates collided and pushed the land upward, raising ancient seafloors into towering mountains. The St. Elias, Ogilvie, and Mackenzie ranges were born from that monumental event. Most iconic among them is Mount Logan, standing 5,959 meters tall, a symbol of the tectonic forces that shaped the entire northwestern landscape of the continent. Glaciers like Kaskawulsh and Logan Glacier were formed during the Pleistocene Ice Age. They carved through rock and sculpted deep U-shaped valleys, laying the groundwork for a complex network of waterways that flow into the Yukon River. In more recent times, Yukon was once part of the Northwest Territories. But in 1898, the Klondike Gold Rush drew waves of prospectors, prompting the Canadian government to designate it as a separate administrative territory. From that gold-fueled frenzy, a new territory emerged, carrying with it both the brilliance and the chaos of a brief but explosive era of development. More than just a land of history, Yukon proudly boasts several areas recognized or listed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Kluane National Park and Reserve, home to Mount Logan, the tallest peak in Canada, and vast glaciers, was listed in 1979. In 2023, Trondek-Klondike became Yukon's first cultural World Heritage Site, honoring the connection between the Trondek-Gwich'in people and the 19th century gold rush. 3 other areas, Ivavik, Vuntut, and Herschel Island, have also been placed on the tentative list for their biological significance and unique Arctic ecosystems. Degrees Celsius depending on the region. Yukon is home to a pristine and diverse ecosystem where life thrives in harmony across boreal forests, taiga, and alpine tundra. According to the official Yukon government portal, an estimated 42,000 caribou migrate seasonally through Yukon as of 2024, belonging to 2 main subspecies, barren ground and woodland. In addition, Yukon is home to between 70 and 80 species of mammals, along with 348 species of birds. Each species, and every habitat, from forest to glacier, plays an irreplaceable role within this vast and interconnected ecosystem. Fall in Yukon begins from August to October, when the crisp air and golden foliage signal nature's graceful shift. In the Ogilvie Mountains and Porcupine River Valley, where quiet taiga forests cradle vast tundra plains, the landscape takes on a dreamlike quality, as if woven from the soft glow of the season's fading light. It is here that caribou herds begin their migration, preparing to cross the wild expanse in search of shelter from the freezing winter ahead. Each year, the migration spans up to 2,400 kilometers. They travel from breeding grounds in the far northern reaches of Yukon, crossing the rugged terrain of the Ogilvie Mountains and descending into the Porcupine Valley. Porcupine caribou need areas with thin snow cover and vegetation rich enough to fuel them for the bitter winter ahead. Porcupine caribou are slender, with long, strong legs that help them move efficiently over snow and uneven ground. Their dense, double-layered coats change color with the seasons, gray-brown in summer and lighter in winter, to provide both insulation and camouflage. Both males and females grow antlers. The males are large and intricately branched, while the females are smaller but retained longer to guard food sources through the winter. As a long-standing resident of Yukon, the porcupine caribou has evolved highly adaptable foraging strategies for survival. In areas with lower primary productivity, typically found in fall and warmer summer months, they feed mainly on graminoid species and other vascular plants. However, in more productive areas where competition from other hoofed animals and predation pressures increase, they switch to consuming lichen. This is a high-energy, easily digestible food source that remains accessible in the frozen upper soil layer. Their journey is deeply tied to the traditional knowledge of indigenous communities such as the Gwich'in and Vuntut Gwich'in, peoples who have lived and hunted alongside caribou for thousands of years. Within that tradition is the idea of the caribou leader, individuals who guide the herd through the migration. Interviews with indigenous hunters in Yukon reveal that females often lead during fall and spring, navigating rough terrain, locating food, and avoiding blizzards. Males only take the lead when snow conditions are deeper and greater physical strength is required to forge a path. As they cross the Ogilvie Mountains and Porcupine Valley in fall, caribou are not just migrants searching for food, they are actively shaping the entire ecosystem. Recent ecological studies by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game show that caribou droppings contain significant nutrients, especially nitrogen. When spread across the tundra, these nutrients help restore local primary productivity in high-elevation grasslands. This creates a ripple effect, allowing the tundra to recover more quickly after periods of drought or delayed thaw. Fall is also when caribou begin to exhibit more socially complex behaviors. Calves born in early summer are now old enough to follow the herd, making fall a natural training season. In the low mountain areas of Ogilvie, collective antler shedding among males has been observed. Old antlers drop in preparation for the winter cycle ahead. This is also the pre-rut phase, when rising testosterone levels make males more aggressive, combative, and alert than usual. Of several to dozens of females mating repeatedly over a span of several days. Females, on the other hand, juggle two key survival roles. They must maintain a steady migration pace while selecting high-quality mates to ensure strong genetic legacy. They tend to be highly selective, only mating with males that demonstrate superior endurance and survival instincts. Notably, the rut season unfolds even as the herd keeps moving, meaning mating behaviors are interspersed with rest pauses, when the herd halts for hours to recover energy. The passage of tens of thousands of caribou forms well-worn caribou trails, altering vegetation patterns and allowing new grasses to grow after winter. Resting spots often attract other species, like Arctic foxes, golden eagles, and even small rodents, that follow the herds to scavenge leftovers or find natural casualties along the way. Thanks to the presence of the porcupine caribou, the red squirrel is among the many species that benefit indirectly. Fall is when red squirrels are at their most active. Small but energetic, they spend most of their time gathering and storing pine cones, especially from white spruce and lodgepole pine, into hidden stockpiles called middens. Indirect nutrients from porcupine caribou droppings, rich in nitrogen and microbes, have been shown in 2024 studies by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game to enhance forest vegetation growth. As a result, cone production, an essential food source for the red squirrel, has seen significant increases. Adapted to cold climates, red squirrels have tufted ears, bushy tails, and lightly furred feet that help insulate them as they move across the snow. They do not hibernate, instead surviving the long winter by relying on their food caches, a highly effective evolutionary strategy that has allowed the species to persist since the end of the Pleistocene. Each individual guards its own territory, staying highly alert and responding aggressively to any intruders, creating a... At this time of year, large animal remains begin to appear, left behind after long migrations or the intense demands of mating season. This is when ravens enter their peak activity period, gathering energy reserves for the long, bitter winter ahead. They follow the movements of hoofed animals like caribou and moose, ready to seize any opportunity. Whether it's a carcass that hasn't fully decomposed or leftover scraps from predators' feasts, ravens are quick to take advantage. Their flexible feeding strategy and remarkable intelligence allow them to survive in spectacular fashion. They can remember where they've hidden food for weeks. Ravens are also known for clever distractions, pretending to give warning calls to trick others, stealing food, and even harassing larger birds like bald eagles to take their place at a carcass. After a long journey through the autumn forests and mountains, the caribou finally reach the Richardson Mountains and Yukon interior taiga. This is where they will spend the winter, enduring the extreme cold. Winter in Yukon typically begins in late October and lasts through April, with average temperatures ranging from -20 degrees Celsius to -40 degrees Celsius, sometimes dipping even lower. In the Richardson Mountains, steep terrain and constant winds prevent deep snow accumulation. As a result, many areas expose lichen just beneath the surface, an essential food source that helps caribou maintain their energy throughout the long, harsh winter. Alongside the porcupine caribou, the 40-mile caribou is another distinctive subspecies found in northern North America. These two herds share a common ancestor, but geographic separation and habitat differences have led to notable distinctions in behavior and migration patterns. Porcupine caribou primarily inhabit the open Arctic regions, while 40-mile caribou have adapted to the subarctic forested areas of Yukon. Although they appear nearly identical, from fur color to body size and antler structure. According to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, 40-mile caribou are slightly smaller due to a less nutritious diet in the forest-mountain transition zones. 40-mile caribou tend to travel in smaller groups and stay closer to the edge of the boreal forest. In contrast, porcupine caribou prefer the wide-open tundra plains. When winter arrives, 40-mile caribou seek shelter under forest canopies to shield themselves from the cold winds, while porcupine caribou are willing to travel farther to find lichen-rich areas, their primary winter food source. The starkest difference between the two herds lies in their migration ranges. Porcupine caribou are known for their epic migration, spanning thousands of kilometers each year, one of the longest overland migrations of any land mammal. They follow a consistent route from the Ogilvie Mountains to the Richardson Mountains and onward to the Beaufort Sea coast. In contrast, 40-mile caribou migrate only a few hundred kilometers around the 40-mile river region between Alaska and Yukon. Caribou are blessed with astonishing adaptations for surviving in extreme environments. Their fur is thick and hollow, like tiny straws, trapping warm air close to the body. Their noses warm the air before it reaches the lungs, and their large hooves help them dig through snow and maintain traction on ice. Although they can endure temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius, their true challenges come from hunger and predators. As a result, caribou are nearly always on the move during winter, avoiding ambushes. A rare ecological event occurred in the 1960s and again in 1979 when porcupine caribou migrated beyond their usual range and entered the 40-mile region due to unusually deep snow cover in the north. Strangely, no conflict occurred between the two herds. Instead of competing, they quietly avoided each other as if guided by a shared instinct, offering a powerful example of the deep balance nature and creation have instilled. While the 40-mile and porcupine caribou are seasonal visitors, the boreal woodland caribou calls the Richardson Mountains home year-round. Unlike the large migratory herds, boreal caribou live alone or in small groups, staying year-round in the lowland forests of southeastern Yukon and relying almost entirely on lichen. Without the need to share habitat with large herds, competition pressure is reduced, allowing boreal caribou to focus on conserving energy and maintaining distance from predators. This survival strategy demands high alertness and excellent camouflage, thanks to their dark brown or ash-gray coats, with particularly darker fur around the neck and shoulders to retain warmth and blend into the shaded forest understory. Differences in appearance are also striking. Boreal caribou are significantly larger than both 40-mile and porcupine caribou. Adults weigh between 120 and 210 kilograms, with some males reaching up to 250 kilograms. Their antlers are thicker, heavier, with fewer and rounder branches, adapted for forest environments, where compact antlers make it easier to move through dense vegetation. Unlike the long, spiraling antlers of tundra-dwelling caribou, staying in one territory year-round means boreal woodland caribou have developed a deep understanding of their surroundings, the terrain, predator behavior, and seasonal weather changes. They don't rely on endurance for long migrations, but instead possess the resilience of a true native. Their knowledge of every tree, crevice, and frozen stream in the Taiga ecosystem is their greatest survival tool. And beneath the rivers of this land lives a fish with a remarkable life cycle, the Chinook salmon. They migrate over 3,200 kilometers from the ocean into the Yukon River to spawn and then pass on, a moving yet vital process for the ecosystem. Though they do not eat during the nearly 3-month journey, they carry marine nutrients upstream, enriching forests and mountains through their nitrogen and phosphorus-rich bodies. As of 2024, the number of Canada-origin Chinook salmon has dropped to between 19,000 and 28,000 individuals, prompting the government to issue a 7-year fishing ban. Meanwhile, on land, once the snow blankets everything in white, it becomes especially difficult to spot the Arctic fox, a slender yet remarkably resilient creature that lives year-round in these mountain regions. Without needing to migrate, the Arctic fox has evolved to thrive in the frozen depths of winter, thanks to its seasonal coat that changes color. In winter, it turns pure white for perfect camouflage against the snow, then shifts to a brownish gray in summer to blend in with moss and rock. That snowy white winter coat is actually twice as thick as the summer one, providing critical insulation across the entire body. This thickening of the fur doesn't happen randomly. Arctic foxes have a biological clock highly sensitive to photoperiod. First signs of their presence were recorded in the early 20th century, and by 2025, red foxes had become a common resident in many habitats, from open taiga and dry grasslands to the outskirts of northern communities. The red fox's permanent presence in the subarctic is a clear reflection of climate change. As winters shorten, snow layers thin, and freeze-up periods grow shorter, living conditions increasingly favor species adapted to milder environments. While the Arctic fox depends on thick snow cover for concealment and hearing-based hunting, the red fox benefits from exposed or low snow surfaces, relying on sight and speed to chase prey. Unlike the Arctic fox, a long-adapted specialist of snow-covered environments, the red fox is about 20 to 30% larger and boasts a highly flexible survival strategy. Like the snow fox, they hunt lemmings, voles, and ground-nesting birds, scavenge remains of caribou or moose, and even feed on human waste near settlements. However, red foxes rarely caching, a technique that allows them to bury leftover food under the snow to eat later in the winter, something that Arctic foxes do regularly. According to Yukon studies from 2024, this adaptation has also triggered notable behavioral shifts. Instead of only breeding near forest edges, many red foxes are now using rock dens and snow-covered hills, traditionally Arctic fox territory. This creates direct competition for breeding space and poses a serious threat to the survival of Arctic fox pups. The spread of the red fox is a stark ecological warning. It reflects the complex connections between climate change, species behavior, and ecosystem structure, where any shift can trigger profound rearrangements in the delicate web of survival in the Arctic. Besides competition from the red fox, one of the Arctic fox's vital food sources, lemmings, is also highly contested by the snowy owl, a large white owl that glides silently over the wide, frozen plains. The snowy owl is the quintessential winter predator of the Richardson Mountains and Yukon interior taiga, hunting by both day and night. Lemmings make up more than 70% of its diet during breeding season, though it continues to diversify its food sources throughout winter. The snowy owl's hunting prowess comes from a perfect blend of keen eyesight, pinpoint directional hearing, and silent flight. Unlike most owls that are nocturnal, the snowy owl hunts at any hour, making it a formidable rival even when Arctic or red foxes are nearby stalking prey. They often fly low, skimming just above the ground from cliffs or snowbanks, before suddenly diving at high speed, talons as sharp as blades striking down on prey. Thanks to specialized feathers that absorb sound, their strike is nearly silent, giving their target no time to react. Notably, mature snowy owls have been observed stealing food from Arctic foxes, adding yet another layer to the fierce competition for survival on the tundra. Though not permanent residents, they patrol the region east to west throughout the winter, rather than migrating south like many other bird species. According to 2024 findings from Project Snowstorm, this winter has seen a surge in snowy owl numbers in northwestern Canada. highlighting the critical role of Yukon's stable lemming populations. In that snowy, wind-swept landscape, every encounter between snow fox and snowy owl is no longer just about hunting. It's a survival race, where sharp eyes and razor talons become the ultimate weapons. And now, for you watching this, of the 3 winter hunters in Yukon, which one do you think has the smartest survival strategy? The snow fox, the red fox, or the snowy owl? Drop your answer in the comments below. The rivalries between foxes and snowy owls are of little concern to the caribou. Its worry lies with the true rulers of the snow-covered mountains, the gray wolves, apex predators of the Taiga ecosystem, who seem to awaken the moment the snow deepens. Gray wolves are among the most socially advanced carnivores in Yukon. According to the Yukon Environment Department in 2024, the gray wolf population is estimated at 4,500 to 5,000 individuals, dispersed across boreal forests and tundra regions. In winter, when temperatures regularly fall below -40 degrees Celsius, caribou become their primary prey, large-bodied targets that can sustain an entire pack. Wolf packs, usually consisting of 5 to 12 members, track caribou for dozens of kilometers across snow-laced valleys and through mountain forests, terrain that favors ambush and isolation tactics. They are selective hunters, focusing on the old, injured, weak, or young. This strategy not only raises the success rate, but also helps maintain the health of caribou populations. Caribou, in turn, date. Their body temperature drops slightly, heart rate slows to just 8 to 12 beats per minute, and metabolism drops to about 25% of normal levels. During this time, they eat nothing, drink nothing, and do not excrete, surviving solely on fat reserves built up during summer. However, some large adult males with substantial fat stores may not hibernate fully, or can awaken if they detect a promising food source. When the scent of a carcass travels through the thick snow, their ultra-sensitive noses and predatory instincts may rouse them from the den, guiding them straight to a gray wolf pack mid-feast. Recent studies by Yukon Environment in 2024 and the US Fish and Wildlife Service show that such encounters are not rare, and grizzlies often come out on top. Weighing over 250 kilograms, standing nearly 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder, and armed with a crushing bite, they can intimidate an entire wolf pack without ever needing to fight. When a grizzly arrives, the wolves often have no choice but to back off, sometimes watching from a distance, waiting for a chance to return. This isn't just a food dispute. It's a clear demonstration of ecological hierarchy among Arctic carnivores. Though grizzlies rarely hunt during winter, their ability to claim meals so decisively highlights the strength and adaptability that define their survival. And that unexpected presence turns every winter feast into a high-stakes gamble for all involved. Alongside the grizzly bear, gray wolves must also contend with elite aerial hunters, golden eagles, the proud raptors of the north. With wingspans reaching up to 2.3 meters, golden eagles are master predators across the snowy Richardson Mountains. Unlike typical scavenger birds, golden eagles hunt with bold, deliberate precision. They soar silently at high altitudes, using steep mountain slopes to catch rising thermal currents, then dive at speeds of up to 240 kilometers per hour to strike small mammals moving beneath the thin snow layer. Their hunting skill is unquestionable, but their audacity in stealing meals is equally remarkable. During winter, when food becomes scarce, golden eagles often follow gray wolf packs, waiting until they bring down a caribou, then swooping in to snatch accessible portions. Young or solitary wolves are often powerless against the eagle's speed and daring. These lightning raids aren't about taking over the whole carcass, but rather targeting internal organs or soft tissue, energy-rich and easy to carry away. Golden eagles are also partial migrants. Nearly half the northern population, including those in Yukon, leave between mid-October and mid-December for the northwestern United States or southwestern Canada. However, some individuals, especially mature pairs or younger birds, remain active throughout winter in Yukon's mountain cliffs, taking advantage of available food sources. In the frigid wilderness, dominance isn't always defined by size, but often by strategy, timing, and the will to seize the moment. Even a caribou that doesn't survive the winter is not yet free from threats, especially with the wolverine lurking nearby, ready to claim what remains. This powerful wild mustelid can drag a caribou carcass up to 3 times its body weight across deep snow. Wolverines evolved from ancient members of the Mustelidae family and are found across Arctic and boreal wilderness in Europe and North America. As of 2025, the North American population remains stable, with over 10,000 mature individuals, including those in Yukon, according to data from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. During Yukon's long winter, when food is scarce, wolverines thrive in their role as expert scavengers. They often follow gray wolf packs or other predators, arriving after the hunt to claim abandoned caribou remains. With powerful claws and digging ability, they can haul off entire carcasses, even those much heavier than themselves. But scavenging isn't their only strategy. Wolverines will also hunt directly, targeting young or weakened caribou and using their sharp claws and sudden strength to take down prey. Their thick, oily fur resists moisture and bitter cold, while powerful jaws allow them to crush bones and access frozen meat that few others can. They operate alone, patrolling enormous territories, often spanning more than 600 square kilometers, giving them wide reach across Yukon's deep snow landscapes. According to Environment and Climate Change Canada in 2024, the wolverine stands as a symbol of the raw vitality of the boreal and tundra wilderness. As the thick snow begins to melt and the first warm breezes sweep across Yukon, the surviving caribou quietly begin a new chapter in their journey of endurance. Spring arrives on the Yukon North Slope and Beaufort Coastal Plain around late April, as daytime temperatures slowly climb from 1 degree Celsius to between 10 and 15 degrees Celsius on clear days. The landscape undergoes a dramatic transformation. Ice along stream beds cracks open, revealing clear meltwater from the snow, and vegetation slowly blankets the once frozen ground in green. This is also when plants like sedge, lichen, and willow begin to sprout, the first nutrient-rich food sources after a long season of scarcity, signaling the revival of the entire Arctic ecosystem. As the ice melts, female porcupine caribou lead the herd across the Richardson Mountains and Yukon North Slope, returning to the Beaufort Coastal Plain. This coastal region offers ideal calving conditions, fewer gray wolves, and a lush supply of fresh spring forage. It's also the most sacred phase in their life cycle. The calving peak occurs in early June, with more than 75% of females giving birth between June 1st and June 7th each year. Newborn calves are extremely vulnerable in their first weeks, relying on their mother's milk while facing threats from predators such as gray wolves, grizzly bears, and golden eagles. However, predator density along the coast is 30 to 40% lower than in interior regions, greatly improving the survival rate for newborns. Bull porcupine caribou play a critical role in territorial defense during this time. Even when not hunting, they can confront predators and protect females and calves, using antlers and powerful hooves to drive off wolves when necessary. Calving on the Beaufort Coastal Plain also stimulates the ecosystem itself. The droppings of newborns and leftover birthing materials like placentas enrich the soil with nitrogen and microbes, triggering a surge in sedge and willow growth. This not only provides immediate food for calves, but also helps rejuvenate riverside vegetation, creating favorable conditions for Chinook salmon as they begin their upstream migration. At this same time, Canada geese begin migrating north to claim the wetlands and thawing lakes along the Arctic coast. Here, they'll nest and raise goslings amid newly revived landscapes. Though rare, making up less than 1% of the regional goose population according to surveys, these few Canada goose pairs still choose river marshes and thawed lake edges as nesting sites. The breeding season runs from late May to early June, following a continent-wide cycle across North America. Canada geese feed mainly on grass leaves, sedge, and aquatic vegetation near lake shores, playing a key role in regulating pH levels and boosting primary productivity in wetland ecosystems. After nesting and laying eggs, males, typically weighing between 3.9 and 5 kilograms, take on a highly defensive role, actively driving off intruders like red foxes or predatory birds. They emit sharp hiss sounds and charge to protect goslings from danger. Canada geese usually lay 4 to 6 eggs in ground nests near water, incubated for 24 to 32 days. Once the goslings hatch, both parents guide them along trails and water channels toward fresh grass meadows, helping them quickly adapt to their new surroundings and food sources. A 2024 report from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service notes that the breeding populations of ducks and geese across North America have risen by 5% compared to the previous year, indicating improving spring breeding conditions in Alaska and Canada. The young are always the hope and future of their species, but no matter how fiercely Canada geese or caribou defend their offspring, sometimes it's not enough, especially when Yukon's giants awaken from a long slumber. Soon after hibernation ends, grizzly bears reappear across the plains, with mothers and cubs emerging onto freshly thawed tundra. According to the Yukon North Slope Grizzly Bear Habitat Model Report, 2020, and observational data from 2021 to 2022, mother grizzlies primarily target weak caribou calves. At the height of the calving season, a single bear may take down up to 6 calves per day. Coastal plains, where newborn calves gather and spring grasses first emerge, offer both ideal feeding conditions and a lower predator density than interior regions. The hunt begins when a grizzly detects signs of calves nearby. Using raw power and speed, it isolates the young from their mothers, usually targeting calves that have just learned to stand. This makes them especially vulnerable, often unable to run or keep up with the herd in time. The ecological impact of this predation is far-reaching. The pressure from grizzlies forces caribou to shift their calving sites and has a direct influence on calf survival rates, reshaping the delicate balance of Yukon's Arctic ecosystem. But there's a creature that wakes even earlier than the grizzly. The black bear, or Ursus americanus, is often the first to kick off the spring hunting season. Black bears emerge at the very start of spring thanks to a lighter, shorter hibernation strategy. They head for coastal plains, drawn by the return of migratory animals and the early appearance of new food sources as the ice melts. Black bears are highly adaptable omnivores across North America. Spring males can weigh between 80 and 90 kilograms, though still smaller than interior grizzlies, which range from 95 to 139 kilograms. While they typically dwell in lowland forests, thinning ice allows them to venture out onto the coastal tundra in search of rich food sources: grasses, horsetails, poplar buds, insects, and winter carrion. Among these, caribou and moose calves become targets of opportunity. This timing also overlaps with grizzly birthing season, yet the two rarely clash directly due to differences in size and territory. Black bears tend to avoid higher elevations where grizzlies concentrate, instead choosing lower, predator-scarce river zones along the coast to forage and build reserves. Unlike grizzlies, black bears can climb trees to access berries when summer arrives, showcasing their versatility across diverse habitats. They also compete indirectly with scavengers like Arctic foxes and common ravens, forming a tight food web along Yukon's river corridors. Meanwhile, just as the porcupine caribou mothers settle into the tundra to protect their newborns, a new danger quietly approaches from the north. The polar bear, the apex predator of the icy northern seas off Yukon, begins its inland journey from the drifting ice off Herschel Island. As the ice melts, these bears not only hunt seals, but may also wander toward caribou calving areas, setting up one of the rare ecological intersections between marine predators and terrestrial wildlife. Polar bears evolved from brown bears during the Pleistocene, perfectly adapted to life in the frozen Arctic. Their bodies are more streamlined, with thick, coarse white fur, oversized feet, and strong claws that allow them to walk on thin ice and scale rocky shores, quite different in appearance from either grizzlies or black bears. Male polar bears typically weigh between 350 and 500 kilograms and can stand up to 1.5 meters tall, significantly larger than the other two bear species. In spring, polar bears emerge from their dens. Some females stay until late April, then begin hunting ringed seals as soon as cracks open in the sea ice. They establish untouched, ambush points at breathing holes, or track ice bubbles to strike. As the ice breaks up later in the season, they can travel farther inland, and there have been reports of polar bears scavenging caribou calves or carcasses, adding pressure to vulnerable young herds. Unlike grizzlies and black bears, who primarily hunt on land, polar bears operate across multiple terrains. Ocean, shoreline, and occasionally even the edges of the Beaufort Coastal Plain. However, once the ice fully melts by midsummer, they must often avoid grizzlies, who can knock them off their prey on land. When spring arrives and life begins to stir again, mother bears of all species protect and lead their young from the moment they leave the den or depart the ice. Can you guess which of the three bears, grizzly, black, or polar, typically has the most cubs in a single litter? Drop your answer in the comments below. As the porcupine caribou herds leave their coastal calving grounds to return inland, it marks the arrival of summer in the far north. Summer in Yukon stretches from June to August, with daylight lasting 18 to 22 hours a day and peak temperatures ranging from 6 to 26 degrees Celsius. The alpine tundra, stretching across high mountain ranges like the Ogilvie and Mackenzie, awakens at elevations between 900 and 2,400 meters, where trees can no longer grow. This becomes a habitat bursting with wildflowers, lichens, and short grasses that bloom within a short window of just 45 to 90 days, when temperatures range from 3 to 12 degrees Celsius. The coastal foothills, low rolling hills along the edge of the Beaufort Sea, where alpine slopes gently descend, offer a slightly milder tundra climate, with summer temperatures averaging around 4.5 degrees Celsius. This region hosts sprawling sedge meadows, lichens and dwarf willows, forming a transitional edge between Arctic tundra and the southern taiga forest, an ecologically vital boundary. Summer is a season of recovery. Caribou herds head to high mountain zones where cool breezes and fewer insects provide a much-needed refuge from mosquitoes, horseflies, and biting flies. Calves begin learning key survival skills, keeping pace with the herd, selecting tender forage, and recognizing predator tracks. It's also a period of rapid physical growth as they prepare for the long migration south toward the boreal forest and tundra in the fall. Meanwhile, adult caribou focus on storing fat and nutrients, gaining an average of 10 to 15% of their body weight thanks to the abundance of summer vegetation. Caribou cluster in groups, using the high mountain ridges to avoid insect swarms and reduce predation risk from grizzly bears or gray wolves. Strong alpine winds lower insect density, allowing them to graze more than 10 kilograms of vegetation each day with minimal disturbance. It's a delicate transitional phase, building strength for the calves, reinforcing herd health, and stockpiling energy for the southbound autumn migration soon to come. When porcupine caribou enter new summer habitats, they may cross paths with the elusive hoary marmot, a rare sight, as this species hibernates for up to 8 months and is only active for a brief summer window. Easily recognized by their chubby bodies and silvery gray fur, hoary marmots inhabit rocky slopes and alpine meadows across the alpine tundra and coastal foothills. Summer is their only season for mating, raising young and building fat reserves. They graze on grasses, wildflowers and roots, staying active throughout the long northern daylight hours. According to the Yukon government in 2024, this is also when marmots are at their most socially active, often standing watch and sounding distinctive warning calls when danger is near. As key players in high-altitude ecosystems, the hoary marmot stands as one of Yukon's most spirited symbols of summer. In summer, Dall's sheep make a bold return, populating steep cliffs across the alpine tundra and expanding into nearby low foothills. These rugged landscapes are their signature habitat, terrain that only true mountain climbers dare to tread, where low plants like sedges, willows, and mountain avens form the primary diet of this mountain-dwelling species. Dall's sheep are distinctive in appearance, with a winter coat up to 2 centimeters thick, shoulder height of about 1.5 meters, and body weight ranging from 100 to 110 kilograms, females being notably lighter. The ram's dramatic spiraled horns serve both as symbols of dominance during rut season and as defense against predators like golden eagles, grizzly bears, and gray wolves. Summer marks the lambing season, when ewes give birth and raise their young on high cliffs, where safety is paramount. Research shows that lamb survival is closely linked to the NDVY, Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, an indicator of plant greenness, where earlier plant growth greatly improves survival odds. Summer is also when these sheep rely on treacherous terrain to reduce predator pressure, a clear strategic choice in their survival playbook. Dall's sheep play a vital ecological role. By grazing on sedges, willows, and mosses, they help regulate alpine vegetation dynamics. Their shifting between elevation zones also reflects an adaptive response to climate change, as shrubs steadily push higher into the mountains, potentially impacting future food availability for the species. Also, a master of the vertical world, the mountain goat reigns over Yukon's sheer cliffs during the brief summer months. Equipped with square, sharp hooves and flexible footpads, mountain goats grip rock faces steeper than 60 degrees with ease. moving gracefully at elevations of several thousand meters. With a body length around 1.4 meters and an average weight of 70 kilograms, Yukon's estimated 1,500 individuals are considered true mountaineering icons. Summer is their sole active season. Like the hoary marmot, mountain goats enter deep hibernation through the cold months, awakening by late May and remaining active for only about 90 days to give birth, forage, and build up fat reserves before winter returns. Starting in June, nannies give birth to kids on secure cliff ledges, then guide them upward, teaching the young to climb and forage on alpine vegetation similar to that of Dahl's sheep, all within rugged, high-altitude terrain. Their superior climbing and clinging abilities help them avoid nearly all predators. Only golden eagles, gray wolves, and grizzly bears pose potential threats, and even these are rarely able to reach goats in their steep habitats. When threatened, mountain goats instinctively flee upward or press against the cliff face, using the landscape as a natural shield, escaping danger through sheer reflex and terrain mastery. They also shift their range seasonally. While summer keeps them in alpine heights, they descend slightly in winter to find milder refuge areas and access mineral licks for essential nutrients. This remarkable adaptability to Yukon's harsh terrain and climate underscores their role as true high-altitude survivors. A true icon of the sky, summer is also peak breeding season for the golden eagle. On steep, wind-swept cliffs, these raptors build their nests from large branches, reused and expanded over the years. Nests are placed in sheltered spots with broad visibility, far from predators and ideal for raising and training young. From late April through July, a golden eagle pair typically raises 1 to 2 eaglets, carefully incubated, warmed, and fed. But rearing is not simply feeding. It's a full-fledged training journey. In the early weeks, eaglets flap their wings weakly, waiting for food. By weeks 7 to 9, the parents begin encouraging stronger wing beats, short hops between ledges, and even trial flights in tight spaces. Some parents drop live prey into the nest, teaching eaglets to respond, strike, and dispatch on their own. This flight and hunting training phase is when essential survival skills are forged. The mother eagle will glide in front of the eaglet, sometimes mock striking to trigger reflexes, pushing it to adjust altitude and direction mid-air. Gradually, eaglets join short hunting flights, observing tactics and mimicking approach techniques. Once the nest is secure, golden eagles embark on full hunting missions, employing a variety of strategies tailored to specific prey. For marmots, they use contour flight with short glide, flying low along terrain just 1 to 5 meters above ground, then diving swiftly when the target appears, gripping the neck or head with powerful talons. For Dahl's sheep lambs, they opt for low, stealthy approaches, latching onto the back or neck and holding for minutes, long enough to exhaust and subdue the young sheep. When facing larger prey like adult mountain goats, they may use the knock-off cliff strategy, leveraging steep terrain to destabilize and send the target tumbling into rock crevices. For young or weakened goats, they revert to the close-grip ambush used on lambs. Strategic flexibility, speed, strength, and sharp intelligence make the golden eagle a relentless aerial threat to any creature light enough and vulnerable enough to be taken. More than just a hunter of one species, they exert ecological pressure that shapes the distribution of marmots, fox kits, and even mountain lambs across the tundra landscape. While the caribou herds and other wildlife continue to savor the brief, wind-swept summer of the high plains, A quieter, more urgent story is unfolding beneath the surface. Yukon is facing a series of severe environmental crises as climate change accelerates the thawing of permafrost. The result: collapsing ground, broken infrastructure, and the release of methane and mercury into the ecosystem. Along coastal regions like Herschel Island, retrogressive thaw slumps are occurring at unprecedented rates, accelerating erosion and reshaping entire landscapes. Meanwhile, Yukon's hydrological cycle is unraveling. Shorter freeze-up periods, increased flooding, and rising water turbidity heighten the risk of mercury contamination spreading along the Yukon River basin. Vegetation is shifting rapidly. Shrubs and boreal forests are encroaching into tundra zones, fueling more frequent wildfires. This expansion is also pushing invasive species like the red fox deeper into Arctic fox territory, upsetting long-standing ecological balances. At the same time, iconic species like the porcupine caribou and Chinook salmon are being hit hard, losing habitat, facing unstable food sources, and navigating disruptions across their life cycles. Yukon is in the midst of a climate crisis, one that starkly illustrates the deep erosion of the natural foundations that have sustained this land for thousands of years. Under mounting pressure from climate change and ecosystem crises, Yukon has no choice but to proactively adapt through bold, multi-layered solutions grounded in indigenous knowledge. At the forefront is the Our Clean Future initiative, aiming to cut emissions by 45% compared to 2010 levels, with a target of reaching 97% renewable electricity by 2030. Yukon is also promoting electric vehicle adoption through subsidy programs, while actively reducing greenhouse gas emissions in transportation and construction sectors. To address infrastructure vulnerable to permafrost thaw, the local government has developed sensor networks and geotechnical mapping systems to monitor ground movement. Canada is contributing 7.5 million Canadian dollars annually through the Climate Change Preparedness in the North program, supporting Indigenous communities in upgrading infrastructure and stabilizing foundations. Coastal erosion response efforts, such as those on Herschel Island, are accelerating through the relocation of cultural heritage sites and the digital preservation of traditional knowledge. For water and ecosystem conservation, the Intertribal Council YRITWC oversees Yukon River water quality and leads Taiga forest restoration, aiming to rebuild ecological corridors and absorb millions of tons of carbon dioxide over the coming decades. These strategies not only help Yukon adapt today, they also safeguard the lifeblood and natural legacy of this land for future generations. But Yukon needs more than policies. It needs individuals. If you've ever set foot in Yukon and witnessed the majesty of its wildlife, don't hesitate to share your knowledge and experiences in the comments below. Your voice could become a source of inspiration and momentum in the ongoing effort to protect endangered species and preserve ecosystems for tomorrow. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to join us in the next breathtaking journey. Or continue following the survival stories of wild animals in other frozen frontiers with Wild Siberia, Survival Secrets of the Frozen Wilderness, or Harsh Alaska, the survival struggle of wildlife.